to No Shame in the Home Game, the podcast that cares how your home feels, not looks. I'm Lacey, the podcaster who's got a bold lip today. I know you can't see me, but I have a very bold lip, so I'm feeling very sassy, because when I have a bold lip, I'm sassy. Warning you all, along with Sarah, who complimented my bold lip, my fellow co-host.
I actually don't know what pop out means. I hear the youngins say it, but when I saw your bold lip, I was like, pop out? I don't know. What does pop out mean?
Did it pop off?
When something's a pop out,
Oh,
I thought that was a phrase.
maybe it is. I don't know.
I actually can't, this is not sexual in nature. I actually can't stop looking at your lips because no, it's just so nice. The coloring of the office and your hair and your outfit contrasted with the lip. It's like a perfect, it's beautiful.
I'm going to take a squad shot right now.
All right. So if anyone's curious what that looks like, you can go to our social media and see the pop out lip stain. I also very quickly in mother mode was like, do not get that on your clothes. Lip stain sounds like it is not coming onto your clothes.
It's a thing. Don't worry. We are wrapping up Theresa's story today, which obviously is near and dear to Sarah's heart because she and Sarah have been friends for a while. But I feel like I saw so much of myself in Theresa, and she's also just so delightful that hearing her story and wrap up and how much she got out of this experience has given me all of the home tingles.
All of the home tingles. And there has been so much off air that we could basically have 2 more episodes by now because she is building on it. She's taking what we've talked about, she's building on it. We've already had a couple of hiccups and we've talked about, okay, this is why this is important. How about if we add this part in? And I already said to her, I'm like, do you want to talk about this now or record this for bonus content? And in true Theresa form, she's like, well, my May is very full with, and then she rattled off all these things. And I was like, no, let's just help. Yeah, that sounds very much like Theresa's life. Let's just help you now. This is very much just the wrapping of her story with us. But please know, Theresa is taking and running with this in so many different ways. It's beautiful. And I hope we can bring her back and talk about it more later.
Yeah, I cannot wait. And I will say, as you were talking, I was like, how cool is it that she's your friend and you get that ongoing support? And then I was like, wait, anybody who joins this Joyful Support Village can ask these questions and get this kind of support. If you do Home CEO, join the village, you're going to be able to have that support from Sarah, which I know Tyra was like, Sarah's magic. I say Sarah's magic. I agree.
This isn't just my work. This is my passion. I love figuring out solutions. I love figuring out solutions that help people. So doing this inside the village, it will be so much fun for me. Please come, ask questions. Let's problem solve together because that's my jam, baby.
Yeah, and an all-in membership, you get access to all of our courses and the village for $150 a year, which I feel like is a really good price because Home CEO itself is $99. Look at us doing the hard sell in the beginning. We do mean it though. I was telling someone the other day, I'm like, how cool is it that I'm trying to make joy my job? So we're passionate about this. And also, Sarah can't help. She tries to help herself when it comes to solutions. One of my favorite things is when I'm complaining about something and Sarah's like, can I give you a suggestion? She's very good about asking. But I just love, like, she's like, see it. I have an idea. Let's try.
It is that, and that's part of my human design. I was going to say the way we met was through human design. Part of what I learned is that I need to wait for the invitation. And I've realized sometimes when people are talking about a frustration, that isn't always the invitation for a solution.
Mm-hmm.
So I have to be very careful about making sure there's an invitation there. But yeah, as soon as there's an invitation, I'm an avalanche of ideas.
And I love everything about it. I also love how excited you get when an idea works. When I told you about our communication center, you were like, what? You were so excited.
Because it's like being a proud mama.
Yeah.
Like it went out into the world and it did something and that 1% joy ripple. I mean, that's really exciting.
We're going to go ahead and jump into Theresa's story. You'll see Sarah and I on the other side where we'll do our moment of gratitude. But first, let's celebrate Theresa and her awesome progress. Hi and hello. We're back with our participant, Teresa. Hi, Teresa.
Lacey.
And this is our third and final episode with you. So we get to kind of see what worked, what didn't, what you'll keep using in the future, and that kind of stuff. So I'll kick it over to Sarah to get us started.
Okay, when I get excited, I say okay 3 times. Okay. Okay, okay. There's so much. There's so much. I don't even know where to start. So let's just start with what I can hear, which Lacey doesn't know about. So our first episode with Teresa, we talked about everything she takes care of and everything in her house. And it has changed from episode 1 to episode 3. So Teresa, what else are you taking care of in your house besides the humans? What animals are now in your
I know it feels like we start over. Okay, so I have a husband, a daughter, 3 kitties, a golden retriever that's 2, and a golden retriever that today, his birthday is 17 weeks old. And we just added baby chicks to our household because, why not? And they're awesome. They're not that hard. That's the chicks in the background. They haven't made it to their new coop yet, but everyone in our family has a job around the chickens, and everyone's been true to their job so far. So that's a big thumbs up. My husband's taking care of structures, and I was very clear. I was like, this will be too much for me if I have to manage animals that will kill other animals, like cats killing birds or dogs killing birds. And I'm okay with adding another chore to my daily routine that's outside because I go out there anyway. So I'll take care of feeding and watering them, but not structures. And Shannon, of course, took the fun jobs, research on structures and care and collecting eggs. And she's been completely true to that. And she has been helping me with food, water, and safety. So I have been sleeping with a little puppy and chicks in the sunroom for a couple weeks. So slumber party at my house.
That brings me so much joy.
So I'll just show you. They've had a temporary home, an intermediate home. So temporary first home was like just a box from like a storage box. And then we changed to an outdoor baby pool with chicken wire. And then behind me, Richard and Shannon built a coop that's awesome that they did research about. And big win, Richard did not build it like out of scraps or going to the hardware store and getting new material. He purchased a designed thing so that he could still take part in life and not be working every weekend on a new structure. I was proud of him for choosing that and super excited that it's ready to go because life happens and 2 weeks they need to go out and we have a structure so it's not chaotic and there's no one killing anybody else.
So I want to highlight a couple of things. One, this is very much the Teresa I've known during our entire friendship, just that very much, let's go all in into this, which is just adorable. And I love that. 2 is I'm going to really highlight that I feel as though you used a lot of the home CEO tenets with this new chicken project. As a family, you decided, and as a family, you also delegated. You are responsible for this aspect as a home. But what I heard you say was you were very clear. I can't do this all on my own, but we can do this. So to me, that's very much the home CEO recognizing the scope and then making sure all the pieces are coming together. I really feel like that's actually a huge thing for you. I hope you're acknowledging that.
Yeah, I do. I really smile on it. And there had been talk of chickens at our house when we moved here because we live in the country. We have neighbors with chickens. And so it would fit. And I was the holdout. I was like, no, I don't think I can handle it. And I'm not convinced that everyone will be available to participate. They had been interested. And I was like, I'm ready. And here's what I think will happen. What do you think? And everyone said yes. And we walked down and picked out our chicks. And Shannon had already done all the research. And they had already been visiting the chick place. They were just waiting for me to say yes, but no pressure. Like I could have said no or just let it go. Like kids are excited about something and you're like, that'll pass.
Yeah.
I'm very happy for you and the process and the structure and everything that went into that. I will remind our listeners, we started with you focusing on meals, meal planning, meal prep, food prep, and I feel like we've come a long way, baby. I feel like we've come a real long way. So, if you want to highlight, I've got plenty of notes I can highlight, but I want to just hear from your point of view. Where do you feel like you are now versus when we started?
For sure, my mindset is better. For sure. There's no question. I really see that. And I get, I have less anxiety about the meal prep. I have more new tools in the process. I see successes here and there. I also see the same struggles still happening. It's not like it's all gone. I remember from last episode, I was so excited about a certain new tool, like the salad drawer. And I was like, oh, I'm worried now. Like all that excitement. And then I was like, you know what? This can happen to me and other people. I'm super excited about something. This is going to solve it. And then what happens? What if I'm going to be inconsistent? And Lacey, I remember you saying, it's okay not to be perfect, right? And I kept hearing that because Sarah, I kept reporting, I haven't updated the salad drawer yet. I'm going to try and get to it. Meanwhile, there were all these other successes happening. So it's like, how about I shift away from this myopic look at what has to happen in order for me to be successful and see what's actually unfolding? So maybe I just start there with the update. Parallel play at dinners, which is a real tool that you and I talked about, is definitely happening. So whether I take one focus of the dinner and I morph it for each one of us, I'm getting much better at thinking like that and even opening my mindset to this is how I roll. This is consistent with me. It's okay to make multiple things for a family at dinner time. It doesn't have to be you get what you get and you don't get upset every night. And on the days that I'm working, I have really definitely let go much more. I even don't prepare a meal in the morning. If I can, I will, but I don't expect that of myself all the time. And Shannon and I just talk a lot more about what the options are. And she has definitely been a helpful contributor to my process for sure. Appropriately in the way that matches authentically for her. So we keep playing with that. And I feel like there's a lot more wins between Shannon and I around the food. She knows it's an issue. She knows that I've struggled with it. She has homework for me around reading the Salt, Fat, Acid, Heat book. Like she would love it if I could embrace that, growing in becoming a better cook, not just solving an issue of having food available, but hey, mommy, don't you think that it would be fun if you made really healthy, yummy food and got awesome at it as opposed to just limping along? So that's been good. We actually sit and read chapters of that book. And on quiet days, that's one of the things we did over vacation. It was like we read that book and we made food from there and talked about it. And we're slowly going through it. It's not, oh, I got to finish this in 3 months or something. It's like layers, lots of layers, which is truly authentic to me for sure. I don't change quickly a lot of the times, even though I add a lot fast. Those are some things that have happened. Oh, wait. And another thing is that my husband and my daughter, when I'm working, they do a lot more problem solving about what's for dinner. And they have more places that they go to get food without being so elaborate in the budget. I know that in the beginning, I was super excited about how I could pick up something from 6 different restaurants around my workplace. I don't do that anymore. It's just too expensive and people weren't enjoying it as much as I was. So I use it for me. And even then I'm like, I give myself lots of permission to go and get whatever I want for dinner. But most of the time I just choose to eat my leftovers and I don't go and spend money on something around the corner. And I take a lot of examples from like Sweet Greens is this salad place that we can go to. And those are things I have in the drawer or in the house. Even if my salad drawer is adding a little here and there, I have some new ideas. And yeah, we're doing well. We're doing a lot better with it, a lot better in different corners of the process.
Can I just give you the biggest kudos ever as a mom with younger children to hear you talk about that you are co-creating this system with your daughter, that she gets to be a part of it in the way that feels good for her, that you're showing her that this is a problem area for you, but you're working on it and she can be part of that process. Ooh, I might cry. I just think there is so much magic in that parenting and in that system. There is so much magic in that. And I am so impressed. I just, you're setting her up for such success in future life right now. And way to go. That's so cool.
And even if my salad drawer, which I'm just going to focus on for a bit, because I think it's so typical for either me and maybe other people, like to fixate on one
Yes.
tool. Yeah, that's what will make me successful. This cool Pinterest thing that I manifested or made happen in my house too. I still aim for it. There's still a spot for it in my refrigerator. I still have those little containers. We still try to work on them. Lacey, I'm hearing you. That's not what we set out to do. I didn't set out to create a project with my daughter. And that's what's happening. And then, Sarah, I also texted you a picture of something that's happening between Shannon and I that's adding a new curious layer for me is that she's trying to explore different diet and different exercise options. First episode, I had a pretty intense schedule that I was reporting, right? Up super early in the morning with figure skating. Figure skating season is over, but also we as a family have chosen not to return to figure skating. So Shannon was on the synchronized skate team. She really wanted to do that. That's over. And we decided that we wouldn't invest in that any longer, which was a big loss for her.
Yeah.
And but she was actually part of the decision making. And so now she's moving on to what will I do next for my exercise. And she has some ideas. And I'm just so excited to see her doing this. And we had the talk about you don't have to be rigid about it. Okay, that's a great plan. And I'm totally going to help you, but I can't sign on for all of this. I'll do my best.
Get it,
Yeah.
girl. It's like a
Like,
full plan with some images that she drew. I love that.
yeah. So today is, I'm forgetting what today is. I know the exercise is meditation. On Sunday, the exercise was hiking, which we did. And I started her on that. I love to run, but I can't really do it. I have a foot issue, but we've started. She's been working on some stuff. Anyway, this is like going in a tangent of other stuff, but I'm like supporting her and she's supporting me. And and the food things, total parallel play. Like I have great examples from the week. Sunday was liquid diet. And this is Sunday, the day we're supposed to be exploring. I'm like, I'm going to make some salmon and play with that salt, fat, acid, heat business. If you want to put it in the blender, you're welcome to. And she was like, that's okay. I think I'll just eat it regular. I'm like, we had smoothies for breakfast and lunch and we're having a dinner. That's okay with you. Great. We'll move on. And then the next day was vegetarian and then no sugar. And I told her, I'm like, how did you do with the no sugar day? We actually are pretty good about not having sugar in the house. But she was like, oh, I made strawberries and chocolate for dessert at home. I'm like, how was that? She was like, it's really good. I'm like, I had a candy bar next to my food bag at work all day. And I don't know why it was there, but I said no because today is sugar-free day. And she's, good job, Mom. There was no shaming about food, which that is my rule. Do not shame me about food because I won't have it.
Y'all, Home CEO is finally here. The work you hear me do with participants in No Shame in the Home Game is based off of the Home CEO course. Watch the course at your own pace and learn how to problem solve your pain points and find solutions that work for you. Along with the how-to course are guided worksheets. There are solutions for your situation. Sign up for the course at joyfulsupportmovement.com and start finding your solutions today. To me, this is an all-around win. It's not about creating this hard and fast solution. The salad drawer was an amazing inspiration, but it's not that was the solution. What you're discovering is, I always talk about this balance between structure and flow. You had a lot of flow. You wanted everything to be like, oh, let's just see what happens. And that was actually creating tension. And now you've created this structure that has all this flexibility in it. And you're loosening around that mindset of it has to be a certain way into this growth mindset of this voyage of discovery. And what I love is including Shannon, you're not showing her this is what you do, right? It's not rigid. It is, how do you problem solve? How do you come up with something that feels good to you? You're showing her how to create a solution, not what the solution is, which is really the whole core premise of all the work that I do. I'm never telling somebody what to do. It's more about discovering what works for you. And everything has a rhythm, right? Shannon's going to try out these different eating styles. You're discovering this book right now. The salad drawer had a hot week or two and it's quiet now, but everything has a rhythm. And now you've got all of these things to go back to. I always talk about the scaffolding. You're not abandoning the salad drawer. It's still there. It's just not your main focus. And that's fine because you've got chickens and 2 dogs and 3 cats and I mean, you've got plenty of other things going on. But again, bringing Shannon in, you're really showing her how to adapt to situations and solutions. And I think that's amazing. And I feel like you really got to the core of what this can be. I love how you said, this is how I roll. Like, I can hear you so much more relaxed. The beginning, that first episode was a lot of tension around being perfect, it being exact, it being right, it being, I'm failing. And it's just like, now it's just that exploration. It's more playful, is what I'm hearing, really. Does it feel a little playful?
Yeah, and I think one of the tenets of, I say maybe success or contributions that Sarah, you have made is the concept of parallel play. That's one of the real big take home messages for me is that whether we've identified, and I still have my list of the favorites. Remember that homework assignment? Who likes what? And I have the worksheet about what the food outline could, how I could document it more to really create the scaffolding as a map that's I really think about. And when you think about, you maybe write about. And when you write about, you maybe solidify the brain patterns around it. I just intuitively work at parallel play. And I can parallel with, okay, Shannon wants a different focus every day. And that can actually be my parallel play center point, even. Okay, how do I parallel play around no sugar today for all of us? And I know what my husband prefers. I know what I prefer. I know what Shannon is aiming for. And I can pivot around that. In fact, it actually gives me really great structure because on my own, I don't like to decide things for other people. And that's been part of the issue. I don't know how to make an all meat everyday experience for my husband. And I also don't know how to please myself around the more vegetable. But I'm this mindset of parallel play. Yeah, it's more playful. It's parallel playful. So I'm really excited about that. I just want to also say that I remember mentioning also early on that my sister-in-law helped me with chicken. Do you guys remember me saying that during COVID? I was like, oh, look, she's making chicken pot pie. Like, how do you cook your chicken? And we had a whole dialogue about that. And I've never forgotten how to cook chicken and the experience that she and I, or the conversation that we had. And now I won't forget parallel play in my kitchen because of us and other things. There are other things, other wins that have come from the last 3 months. So yeah, it is more playful. It's more lighthearted. I roll with it more. Like I still get, what's for lunch, mom? What's for dinner? Oh my gosh, I'm so hungry. Or I make the food like, oh, I'm not hungry now. I'm like, "Oh, we're just playing." But I have something to play with. I'm lighter about it. I'm really lighter. And I just think it's okay. I made this and I can use it tomorrow. I made this. Still don't make dinner by 3:30, but there's always something in the house.
And I'm glad that you brought that up about the family's communication around being hungry, because that was one of our, when we talk between appointments or between episodes, we do back and forth over Marco Polo. And I did start to hear a common thread of the family coming to you when they were hungry. And I wanted to propose the idea of a communication center. And it's not hard and fast, it's not rigid, but I'm wondering if there is an opportunity on the days that you're home making meals. Could there be a dry erase board in the kitchen? For lunch today, I'm making tomato soup and grilled cheese at approximately, again, not hard and fast, but if you know you have an appointment until 1, just be like, oh, it'll be ready at 1:30. And on the days that you know dinner is going to be salmon and rice and green beans, you could put on there dinner, salmon, rice, and green beans, ready at 6:30. And that way, if somebody wants to help get it going faster, you can say, oh, you want to start the rice? Then we'd be done 15 minutes earlier. That way, I always just think about having a young child and learning how to forecast for them so they're not reacting and they're not surprised. And really, I got through that, I learned how to really outline a lot of things that were going on. And I'm just wondering if that would be helpful for your family. Does that seem like an opportunity or no?
Yeah, because it's already in my head, right? So if I shared it, that's just another data point for the success of the family, I think. And I thought about that the other day because we do have a dry erase board in the kitchen that's blank. Doesn't have anything on it. And it's often been a place that we can write things for groceries, but I've pivoted to I just put it in the grocery app. And I've encouraged everyone to have the app on their phone and add to the cart because I could do that, right? Lacey, isn't that like a tool?
That's what we do. We have a list that we can shout to Alexa about, and then I transport that into the list for pickup. So yes, but then when it is time to do the pickup, my husband or I are like, "Hey, I'm going to place this order. Put whatever you want in," and then yeah. So I wholeheartedly agree and endorse that method.
And I think less has been showing up on the whiteboard because it's going right in the cart. And that's a really new thing. And I don't have to tell anybody when I'm going to go pick it up because 3 days a week I can pick it up, right? It's right around the corner from work.
Again, that's that communication. They can look on that app and see, oh, somebody already added this item. Oh, okay, mom is going to pick it up sometime this week because it's already in the cart. And just an idea for the whiteboard. And again, going back to that premise of just try it, see what works. If it doesn't work, try something else. But because every day is different in your house, between your work schedule, Shannon's activities, sometimes Richard's working at home, sometimes I know he's traveling, and sometimes I know Shannon still has activities like Girl Scout. So every day is truly different. So in the morning, I feel like AM is an anchor for you. You get up, you have your warm beverage, you're making breakfast, and then just getting into the habit of every morning writing down lunch on your own and then just writing mom home 9 p.m. dinner. You two, here are some ideas, or you can figure it out. If you know that there's ground hamburger in the fridge, you could write ideas, ground hamburger or soup. And then that way they can go, oh, those are options, or oh, I'm not feeling that tonight. And then again, on the days that you are home, you can write down like Girl Scouts 5:30 to 6:30, dinner will be at 7, and this is what it is. And that way everyone's on the same page, and it reduces, again, going back to that home CEO premise, it reduces you having all this information in your head and giving them an insight into what you already know. So it reduces that friction point. And it's going to take some time for them to get used to that, but if it helps you, it's a tool. I use a dry erase board, and I didn't realize how much the family was. It started during the pandemic. I used to go out, we have 2 acres, and I used to go out on the property all the time. And my son got really upset because he couldn't find me. So I started writing like mom's at the woodshed, mom's whatever. And then I just started using it for every day, what's going on. And I always thought it was more for me, so I didn't forget stuff. And then people would like comment on what wasn't on the board. And I'm like, oh, okay, we are all using the board now. I better lean into the. What were you going to say, Teresa?
And maybe just that I had thought about that yesterday, like I thought about writing it on the whiteboard, and then I didn't have time to put my hands to the whiteboard. So I texted it to them. We have a group chat for the three of us on the days that Richard's picking Shannon up from theater or when he has to be the person. I don't get a lot of response from that. I don't know if it's working or not, but for me, that's a really good time because I can talk it in there. And I have so much that I think of when I leave the house. To communicate that detail is really challenging for me. To communicate it when I'm home is also a little bit of anxiety. I noticed that. What if it doesn't happen at 7? Like I never really quite make my mark. And what I say I'm going to make always is in that playful state of I know I'm going to be making salmon, but then what version of it? Or I know I'm going to take the ground beef and I'm making those like playful, those parallel dishes kind of thing for today and tomorrow and for the various palettes. But I think moreover, yes, I want to try that because whatever pattern we create, people will get used to it. It's like you teach people how to treat you. So it needs to be communicated because there's a gap and something will stick ultimately because they'll get used to it. And so will I. Just like we're super used to what lunches are, right? I'm a rock star with lunches. I have no problem making lunches. And the salad drawer is a tool for me at lunch, even if there's not the vegetables always in there. There's the egg salad, there's the tuna. That has taken a new spot in the refrigerator and I make more of it. If I could do lunches like I do, I probably could do the other stuff.
And
Yes.
again, it's just coming back to trying something, like you perfectly articulated it, filling in that gap, right? And if there is some sort of gap that could use some kind of structure, and I heard you say, oh, I don't really know what I'm going to make for dinner. And okay, that's fine. But if you know that Shannon's going to be at Girl Scouts and you're not going to get home until later, at least let everybody know dinner's going to be on the later side. That you do know.
Yes.
And nobody's wondering, oh, I'm hungry at 5:30. Oh, dinner's not till 7. Okay, I better eat something out of the salad drawer. At least that part of the gap is filled in, even if you don't know exactly what you're going to make.
Sarah, how did you know that is the pain point still? It's and I should just correct. It's not that I don't know what's for dinner. I don't know exactly what's for dinner. Like I know which focal point I have. But you're right. It's more about just communicating. That's when I'm gonna be done with the effort of making dinner. It's gonna be at such and such a time. But there is this pain point around and you guys probably we all feel this, like from 3:30 to 6. When everyone gets home, if there's not food ready, it's stressful and uncomfortable. Whether I know what it is or not, people are at my house, people are hungry.
A couple of things. One is the whole thing about not knowing exactly what's for dinner was in episode 1. You wanted to be able to create and you thrived off of that. Oh, this all came together. And that's that free spirit, Theresa, that I know very dearly. So I'm not trying to change you. I was trying to give you this allowance to still have that creativity and still communicate to the family so that they're not left in the dark. But again, that whole thing about being hungry from 3:30 until dinner, I'm still curious, and maybe the whiteboard is an opportunity. If you're hungry before dinner, there are apples. Giving them things to snack on before dinner. I just know in my household, I'm not interested in anyone telling me they're hungry. Not because I'm not nice and caring and loving and kind, but because everyone's got 2 hands and eyes in my house. And when my son says I'm hungry, I'm like, okay, fruit, vegetable, or protein, figure it out. Like fruit, we've always got apples and clementines, vegetables. We've always got carrots and cucumbers, protein. He can always grab some nuts. So when he says that to me, I just redirect fruit, vegetable, or protein. What do you want to have? Is there an opportunity to give your family a bridge snack between getting home at 3:30 and having dinner? What would that look like?
Yes, and this is for me. So watching you do your magic is really fun. Oh, yeah. Communicate what the options are before the question comes, because I already know what the options are. When someone says they're hungry, I now know what my scaffold looks like. I know what my dinner options. I just want to say, did you notice this? Because I did. In the beginning, I wanted to have all sorts of options for what dinner was and then land on something and be super impressed with my nimbleness around not knowing anything and then figuring out something. Now I'm like, I might not know exactly from the little collection, but I know it clusters around such and such, right? So I have that map or that scaffolding and I have that creativity that I don't have to know exactly what it is. I still get to be intuitive and creative and playful and whimsical with it, but it's within a and now you're saying, okay, what about that time that whether you know it or not is the pain point between I already know what the options are. I haven't communicated them to you before you asked, but you ask me and it's a trigger why do I have to solve this? Now I'm hungry too. Now I have to, in my hungry mode, tell you what the options are. Why don't I just put it down in the place you can see, close my mouth, and point? Those are the options right there. Remember? We put them up there. Or there are options. Me being whimsical and you wondering what the heck magic I'm going to pull out and then have it be a disaster. The ultimate answer is yes. I'm going to try the whiteboard. I'm going to try a communication tool around here are your options and here's what I'm creating today. And this is the time I'm aiming for it when it's not obvious, especially. Like today, I'm home all day and I'm going to have a great time with dinner tonight. And I am not a good communicator about the schedule either. Nobody knows the schedule except for me. Really, they learn about it on the fly.
There's so many ways to go. Okay. Put a pin in the plant and you knowing everything. That's a whole nother series arc of 3 episodes. But the snacks in the very beginning, when we were trying to come up with some meal ideas, I asked you to invite your family to write down their favorite vegetables, proteins, meals, sides, things for the salad drawer. And they were very open to vocalizing what they liked. So I'm seeing another opportunity to put a list on the fridge and say, hey, everybody, what's something you want to eat when you're hungry and dinner's not ready yet? Carrots and hummus, apples and peanut butter, a handful of peanut. Get some information from them. And then that becomes part of your scaffolding and your staples. I know from my house, I always have hummus and carrots available because that feels okay. It's going to satiate me a little bit, but it's not going to, replace dinner or a cheese stick. And I used the phrase with you and it feels a little strong, but when we were doing these Marco Polos and I actually got to hear your family come in and say, I'm hungry. When is food? What is food? I actually got to hear it. And I asked you, why are you the gatekeeper between them and food? That's fine if that's how your house is structured, but I heard it as a pain point. So again, giving them the tools to have that intermediate snack before dinner, but communicating with them what they like and then having that snack list. So when they say they're hungry, you just point to the snack list and then you're not going into your brain going, oh, what do I have? What's available? And just knowing, okay, I'm always going to have pretzels available. I'm always going to have carrots in the salad drawer, right? Does that sound that would work for your family?
Yeah, it does. I can really see that that's a next. Yes, yes. And thank you. That's really helpful for me to see the communication piece, the letting go of the discomfort part, because I, I do notice, and it was really wise of you to ask me, why am I the gatekeeper, or just to explore that. And I took time with it. I didn't just have an answer automatically. I'm like, yeah, why is that? Can I get curious about that and see why that is? I do know that one of the things I smile on about my gatekeeping of sorts is that nurturer in me where, and I'm proud of this, I am a person I see myself as someone who doesn't have a lot of issues around food. And I very easily make a lot of choices that reflect some wisdom and some healthy relationship to food. So whether it's a controlling or an inspirational thing, I like being the mama who has some good things to provide them around food, whether it's mindset or options or an actual meal. And I think I've focused a lot on the meal, but what if I was better at communicating the options? Because I don't want to be controlling about it. I want to help people in my house make good choices that they feel good about for their blood sugar and for their body. And it's okay if they struggle around that over time. Like, I'm not judgmental about doing that, always doing that right every day. So communicating those options sounds like another next level for me. But how do I help communicate what the options are? And how do I make it fun? And how do I make it successful? Like, actually always consistently having those things that they have said are helpful to them because they have been communicated to me and I haven't been keeping them consistent. Maybe there can be some kind of a poster that we make where it's the go-to in between snacks that are healthy and satisfying and they get you through until and just make it more loving as opposed to a pain point. I think that's something I want to embrace is like we do smoothies. Shannon can make them. She makes them really well. She puts protein powder in them. She has a whole thing about them. I don't always have the ingredients for her to make that. So what are the options without it being the salad drawer?
If you love No Shame in the Home Game, we want to hear about it. Take a few moments today and give us a 5-star review on your podcasting platform of choice. This helps others find the show so we can help everyone feel good in their home.
Again, I would ask your family what's a satiating snack to hold you over. Get their
Yeah.
input. But going back to the smoothies, if Shannon's already interested in smoothies, that's a relatively easy thing to always have on hand. I call them the no-brainers. You can always have frozen fruit in the freezer. If you have bananas that are about to go bad, chop them up and put them in a plastic bag. Anything can be dumped in frozen. Blueberries, strawberries, bananas. You can even do vegetables that can go into a smoothie. And then always having on whatever the liquid is she wants to use, almond milk, cow's milk, whatever she wants the liquid to be. Then always having the protein powder, because that's shelf stable. And then like a peanut butter or an almond butter. So she could write up a recipe of smoothies. And when you have your grocery list, making sure that some of those staples are always on that list. If she runs out of one of her smoothie staples, making sure she puts it on the list so that a smoothie is always an option. And a smoothie is a great option. She could make one smoothie and divide it into 3 cups for all 3 of you, right? And
Yeah.
that's pretty satiating and holds you over. And I just want to go back and highlight, especially for the listener, this whole thing that I'm talking about with the gatekeeping and keeping that in mind with the pain point. Okay. If somebody chooses to be the gatekeeper in their house of food because that is nutritionally very important or even allergy related, there are very important reasons to be the gatekeeper of certain things in a house. And I respect that. The reason I brought it up was because I could clearly hear the pain point. So I would only ever highlight that issue if it is a pain point for you or anybody listening. And I really heard you say it isn't important to me as the nurturer for the family. You love doing breakfasts and lunches, and I hear that. You love making food for your family. You love providing a meal that they all love and enjoy. But you said a sentence, which was, when they come to me and they're hungry and I'm also hungry, then I'm mad because I'm having to think of solutions when I'm also hungry. So that's the pain point. It's not no gatekeeper, all gatekeeper. It's let's have a solution for this scenario where I'm always going to make sure these healthy options are available. Going back to structure and flexibility, it's not about totally letting go or totally being all in. It's about having that scaffolding and those options. And I hope that's clear to you, and I hope it's clear to the listener. That is part of being home CEO, is seeing that global picture, knowing the vision, knowing what your family needs and wants, and then giving autonomy where it can be given, but allowing for all of that to happen. So knowing Shannon wants to make the smoothies and having those ingredients available for her. Does that all make sense?
Yes, it definitely makes sense. I want to listen to you say all that again because it resonated and it's wise. Sarah, you're really good at this.
Isn't she?
Yes. Like I didn't even think about that pain point in the same way that you just unraveled it, really. And the solution, which is really authentic to us and others. It's not just unique to me, but yes.
I wanted to ask you, Theresa, what is like your biggest takeaway from doing this? What are you I have a feeling I know, but I want to know, what are you like trying and you would recommend maybe a listener try?
My first reaction is when there's a pain point that looks like it's a deep wound more than just a pain point with lots of tries around it. It's possible to take another stab at it with a different kind of helper. So I don't know if Sarah, you remember this, but I know it's pretty clear in my mind that this food prep issue is not just like a willy-nilly, what could Sarah help me with? It's like, this has been a struggle for years in my heart and in my household. I've tried a lot of ways to deal with it. And I think that I guess like it's possible to try again in a new way around a longstanding pain in the household. So I guess that's the first thing. And then the tangible things that I have to take away from it are parallel play, communication, new tools, not getting too fixated on a solution, but the fact of the matter of really working on solutions. I think that's, if someone says time's up, I could be good with that. Those are some pretty good highlights for me about how it worked in the last 3 months in a successful way. And also, it's really nice to call a friend. Sarah, thank you for
That's
being my
awesome.
friend and using your bright light to help a friend.
Well, and I thank you for being open to this. I've said it before in a previous episode, this only works if somebody's open and willing to share those pain points, open and willing to see solutions and trying things and knowing you may try something and it doesn't work, but you keep trying. And you're very much not alone. A lot of people have that embedded pain. We've tried everything, nothing's worked, and there's this giving up feeling, but you were open to sharing this and growing. And I've heard a big transformation in you. And I'm appreciative that you were willing to go along on the ride and see where this ended up. So you did the work. I just gave ideas. You did the work. So kudos to you, Mama, for wanting things to go smoother. And it goes back to our whole principle with Home CEO is it's so easy to overlook and say it's just food. It's just meals. But this 1% change in the ease of food of your family is going to radiate into your day and their days. And that's the importance of this.
I think
Mm,
it's a little more than 1% on this topic in my household. Big smile about it. A joy, a big joy. Thank you, Sarah. Thank you, Lacey, for
good
helping me with
people.
this and
Thank
making
you.
it fun.
Oh, I almost don't want to say goodbye to Teresa. I know I'm not, but I've had so much fun having these scheduled time with her and editing and getting to hear her voice on a regular basis. Oh, I'm excited for how much progress she made. How much, not even progress, but how much opportunity she saw. Like she saw the possibility, which is the first step, is just seeing what's possible. and she jumped 2 feet in the deep end, which is very much Teresa's style. And I hope, again, our hope is that somebody listening caught one thing that's going to be helpful to them. It doesn't have to be the exact same situation, different food preferences, but one piece that you can take home and resonate.
Absolutely. I took something away, as we learned last time, about how to incorporate the salad, not the salad drawer, but the salad aspect into our home. And yeah, I love her energy, and the amount of work that she put in is wonderful and fantastic. And I'm so thankful that she shared it with us.
Yes. Thank you, Teresa.
Thank you.
Moments of gratitude.
Yeah. I'm going to cheat because mine's really easy right now. I am very grateful for my parents.
You cannot cheat. Yes, you could. I guess if you say exactly what your neighbor says, but then it's not really your gratitude. You're
That's
just
true.
copying. You cannot cheat at
Okay.
gratitude.
I feel like I am constantly talking about how lovely and wonderful my parents are when it comes to helping and supporting me. And what I've really enjoyed is that lately they are just like, we're going to do this for you. And it's something I would have never done. And so it doesn't feel intrusive because they're like, we want to do this. Is this good? And I'm like, yeah. So not only are they literally outside right now, power washing my front porch and back porch. We're going to go to Costco later. But not only that, they connected that my brother had a riding lawnmower that was no longer working for them. So they got a new one. And my parents then said, hey, you guys have a much bigger lawn now. Would you like a riding lawnmower? And Joe, we love Joe. But Joe, like where I'm like jumping on something immediately to make my life easier, Joe takes a little while. So if they didn't come to us with this, we probably would have not gotten a riding lawnmower for 3 to 5 years. So not only did my parents bring it to me, they actually replaced the battery, the spark plugs, did a oil change for us, and then brought it to us for Joe to be able to use a riding lawnmower on our yard. And it's just amazing. I cannot express how wonderful they are and how wonderful my brother is for giving this to us. I'm feeling the family love and support today for sure.
Thank you, Bob and Carolyn.
Thank you, Bob and Carolyn.
What does your brother have to mow his lawn?
He got a new mower.
Oh, okay.
So actually, when this first got introduced to us, my dad said to Joe, oh, Rob has a mower. It caught on fire, but it should be fine now. To which I was like, what? But apparently it was the battery and they replaced the battery, so it shouldn't worry about catching on fire anymore.
Stay tuned to find out if Lacey's lawnmower catches on fire.
Who knows? Who knows? I will say, if there's anybody I trust in a moment of crisis like that, it's Joe. He usually does the right thing very quickly. I'm not too worried.
Her husband and my husband have a lot of similarities. Yeah. The one time when we were newly married, a vacuum cleaner caught on fire. And like a true dum-dum, I run upstairs to tell my husband the vacuum cleaner's on fire. I leave the thing that's on fire and I say, the vacuum cleaner's on fire. What do I do? And he goes, put it outside. Very calmly, actually. And I go, but it's snowing outside. And he goes, even better.
It's so funny because my instant reaction is put a blanket on it. Maybe I can get it to go out. Going outside didn't even hurt me.
Oh my gosh. So glad you got a riding lawnmower. And I got to tell you, it's pretty fun.
I probably won't do it because that's not a wise use of my energy, but it makes Joe's time mowing the lawn, like it cuts it in half, which for us, it's actually really hard for him to be able to mow the lawn because he only has a certain amount of time. And then weekends, I usually need a lot of support from him. He takes the kids and I do my best, but they're getting better. Now that they're getting older, they're a lot less much. In the best way possible. They're 3 and 5. And when they were like 2 and 4, whew, it was a lot.
I shouldn't drink liquids when I'm talking with Lacey because I almost just splurt coffee all over my equipment. A bit much.
So yeah, so it really does make a big difference for us, for sure.
And let's be honest, Bob and Carolyn are probably going to show up and be like, can I mow your yard for you?
When we moved in, they didn't mow our lawn. My dad was like, I called somebody and they're coming to mow. Because we didn't have time because we were moving and all this stuff. So yeah, again, Bob and Carolyn are the bomb.
I'm one step closer to moving to Ohio from that story alone. It's only outweighed by my dislike of moving. Okay, my gratitude. I mentioned on one of the last podcasts about how I'm really focusing on balancing the 3 buckets of work, home, and personal. And yesterday I could feel the imbalance. And so I called my neighbor. Let's be honest, I texted her. I didn't call. I texted her and I just said, "Hey, do you want to have a cup of tea before the kids get home?" And we sat on her porch, and her dog, who I have this like side relationship with, I love her dog so much. I just pet her dog for an hour and we just sat on the porch and I drank a cup of tea. So my gratitude is that I took time for myself. I could have very easily put 10 more chores in that hour. And I just went, nope, I'm doing this for me. And I'm really glad I did, because I ended up actually losing my shit later that night. And I would have lost it a lot earlier had I not took that hour to myself. I had this complete Jekyll and Hyde moment where I was just like, oh, I'm tired and hungry and the day is over for me. I need to stop talking immediately and put food in my mouth.
Well, kudos for you for recognizing that as well.
Thank you.
Yeah. I love that you did that, Sarah. I love that you took time for yourself because I know how much you give me and I don't live in the same state as you. So,
Oh, I want to normalize 2 things. Part of the movement. One is normalizing not judging your own home, which means also not judging other people's homes. Let's
sure.
remove that vocabulary of I'm so embarrassed, I'm so ashamed, I'm so whatever. Let's just it is what it is. And then I also just want to normalize there's no guilt and shame in sitting down for an hour and having a cup of tea. I want to normalize I'm doing this. It actually came from one of your posts. You had a post about active rest. Do you remember
I
that?
do. Rest is an action. My therapist taught me that, and I have to keep reminding myself.
So I actually did it on Sunday. I did that intentionally. And the whole time I had to be like, I'm not being lazy. This is something I need to do. Right. And so I want to normalize that rest is an action. That is just as important as all the other things. And there's no judgment because it's important. So let's all do it. And let's stop judging ourselves and let's stop judging others and let's make the world a happier place. The end.
Amen. Also, if we normalize it for other people, it makes people like me who are sick not beat themselves so much when they have to do it too. So, win-win for everyone.
Win, win, win. Join us on the win train.
Yeah. I can't believe that next week we have our final participant podcast with Tyra.
It's been a fun train ride.
Season 2 has been a blast.
And reminder to listeners, we are casting for season 3.
Yeah.
So if you enjoy the work, if you enjoy the process, and if you're willing to help be part of this movement and put your story out there, you've heard we're pretty nice people. We're not scary or mean. I take that back. When I got really tired and hungry, I was pretty mean, but that was the end of the day. I'm usually pretty good before 2:00.
Well, I just think we're lovely, personally, in my
too.
opinion. But that's a good reminder. I will get the sign up for season 3 on the website, and you can head to joyfulsupportmovement.com and sign up to potentially be a participant in season 3, and you can get the magic of Sarah.
And Lacey.
I mean, yes, but Sarah.
Sarah doesn't have the magic by herself. We saw that when I tried to do Home CEO by myself, and you were like, it feels a little flat. And I'm like, yeah. And then we did it together, and I was like, there's the magic. It's the 2 of us together. Me by myself, I'm very stern and it's the 2 of us together.
You overthink a little bit, yes. I do lighten you up a little bit, which
I like how you said a little bit, like you were trying to like cushion the blow. No, I overthink a lot. It's okay.
All right, until next week. Thanks, Sarah.
Thank you, Lacey. Thanks for listening to No Shame in the Home Game. We hope you can take a little nugget of goodness to use in your own home. Remember to subscribe to the podcast in the player of your choice, like us on social media, rate and review, and share us with all of your friends and maybe a couple of non-friends if you want. You can always visit joyfulsupportmovement.com to learn more about No Shame in the Home Game and other Joyful Support podcasts. While you're there, you can join the newsletter or sign up for the Joyful Support Village. Now go out there and spread some joy.